Good afternoon, everyone. Apopka High School welcomes you to Joe Sterling Gymnasium for Game 24 of the 15th Annual Earl Graham Metro versus Florida Challenge. It's the event that puts the reputation of the Orlando Metro Conference on the line against some of the best talent in the greater Central Florida area. And we want to welcome as our guests for this contest, wearing the green or gray jerseys, visitors on the scoreboard from Viera High School. They are the Hawks. And wearing the white jerseys, home on the scoreboard from Evans High School, they are the Trojans. Let's meet the teams. We'll begin with our guests from Viera. And we'll start at guard with 6'2", senior number 2, Brooks Harris. At guard, 6'4", senior number 1, Damian Carter. Six-foot senior number 11, the point guard, Will White. At wing, 6'2", senior number 13, Alex Ollis. And finally, for the Hawks, at center, 6'4", senior number 23, Sal Parker. And now, let's meet the starting lineup for the Evans Trojans. Starting at point guard, 5'4", senior, number 0, Cody Rackley. At guard, 6' sophomore, number 1, Chuck Hardy. At wing, 6'2", junior, number 5, Abimael Belleus. At forward, 6'10", senior number 21, Dewaye Dixon. And finally for the Trojans at wing, 6'4", junior, number 22, Nicarens Nunez. The head coach of the Hawks in his 7th year at the helm of Viera, Logan Keith, and in his 9th year at the head of Evans, Lanza Morgan. The officials for this afternoon's game are from the Central Florida Officials Association here in Orlando. We thank them for their dedicated service to our high school athletic programs and join them along with our participating schools, reminding everyone to make great sportsmanship a part of this and every athletic competition. For those of you here in the arena, we want to remind you we are live streaming today's game in not 1, not 2, but 3 places. If you have friends and family back in Orlando, back in Melbourne, or anywhere in the world, and they were not able to join us in person today, send them a message right now. They can go to either metroversusflorida.com, that's metrovsfl.com, or YouTube, channel name Metro VSFL, or nfhsnetwork.com. We are simulcasting in all 3 of those places. And we want to extend our thanks to those of you who have done just that. Welcome to Joe Sterling Gymnasium. My name is Mark Barchi, the media director for the Metro versus Florida Challenge. And I am joined by Neil Fisher, longtime Apopka sports writer, to take you through this 24th game. I guess technically 23rd since we had one canceled, but I'm not about to change the numbering at this point, as we get a violation on the jump, and so it will be Hawks ball to start. And Neil, we saw Viera play earlier in the event on Tuesday. They dispensed with innovation rather handily, 73-40. I do not think they're going to get that result against Evans, but as they say, that's why they play the game. I don't know who to favor in this game. I just don't think it's going to be a blowout in that direction.
Yeah, Mark, of course, we told you when Viera played Innovation. Go into my season preview for starters. It's 13-9, the Florida contingency in the league. Viera is a perennial state playoff contender. They're used to winning in the playoffs as well. No dice on that first attempt. That was Dixon, unable to find the range. But Evans actually got them beat. They are the state runner-up. They were finalists last year. And we will start actually with Viera in that aspect.
Foul's called against Evans.
We'll start with
Excuse
Viera.
me, against Viera is number 11. Will White, his first, the team's first.
We'll start with Viera. In the season outlooks, they come in 22-5. A Sweet 16, that's the regional semifinals. Score of the bank, making the deposit.
Kadir Rackley puts the Trojans on the board.
2-0 lead for Evans. They are a member of Class 6A District 6. The Hawks are looking for answers to fill the shoes of 4 starters and 7 graduating seniors. They will rely on 6 seniors, though, returning. And, of course, as is a staple of Logan Keith's coaching philosophy, pressure, defense, ball movement. Looking over at Evans, of course, as we mentioned, they were a state finalist, losing in that final 25-7, 13-3 in this event. Viera, by the way, 3-3. Lonzo Morgan in his 9th season. They did lose 6 players, 6 seniors to graduation, including their top 4 scorers.
3 from Brooks Harris.
However, Mark, we talk about this all the time. Evans is a team that does not rebuild, they reload. It seems like no matter how many players graduate, how many players transfer.
3. Basket by Sal Parker.
No matter how many players graduate, no matter how many transfer.
Dewaye Dixon.
As Evans takes the 7-5 lead. They always seem to have a group of players who are just as capable and ready to step into the shoes of those who have left. And that year, that is Dewaye Dixon, Abimael Belleus, Juwon Robinson, Jedd Maurvais, and Johnny Wright. So, quick start as you would expect between these two teams, accustomed not just to making the playoffs, but making long runs and winning in the playoffs. We're off to offensive centered game, 9-5.
Once again, Kadir Rackley.
Only a couple of field goal attempts. We've had 8 of them have missed. And 9-5 scores. Viera takes over along the baseline. Right wing extended into Sal Parker, who's the MVP against Innovation.
Neil, atypically, we do not have any state champions. There are no reigning state champions participating in the Metro versus Florida Challenge this year. Evans got the closest as we get a basket by Dewaye Dixon. Windermere also was a state runner-up last year. So Evans and Windermere.
In Evans.
Yeah, that's it. Evans and Windermere, state runners-up in their respective classifications. Sal Parker gets by with a little help from the rim.
Cuts the lead to 11-7. 3.5 minutes in. At the other end, the baskets and the points continue. That's Dixon.
Dewaye Dixon
gets the lead back up to 6 points, 2 possessions. So both these teams move the ball quickly up the court, as you probably have noticed, but they also move the ball around quickly in half court. They don't dribble a lot. It's quick passes. Ball does not touch the ground. And our first foul.
Foul is called against number 1, Damian Carter, on the player control foul, his first, team's second.
So the turnover for Viera, and Evans with the chance to get the lead up to 3 possessions, slashing through the lane, the up and over move, no dice from Belleus.
Second chance basket by Dewaye Dixon.
Dixon with the Windex work.
So far it's the Dixon-Rackley show. Between the two of them, they have all of Evans' offensive production.
15-7 lead, 8 points.
Traveling, Trojans ball.
Back to work Evans goes, and there quickly, no bounces, no dribbles. Immediately, within a couple of seconds, that was Belleus slashing through the lane, can't get it to drop. But if you're Coach Morgan, you gotta like what you're seeing there. Eventually, those baskets are gonna drop when you're getting them that quickly. The answer at the other end, or the attempted answer, that was Carter. They took a page out of Evans' book, got it down just as quickly, rims in and out. That was Hardy with the shot. So, folks, buckle up, because we're moving that ball quickly, and the shots are flying. 3 minutes remaining. Skying high, leaning, that's Hardy. He can't get it to drop. Excuse me, that was actually Carter. Back the other way we go. And now for the first time in quite some time, we're seeing a half-court set. Evans got out of sync to pick up on the turnover by Viera, and we'll get some free throws. It'll be Bargewell taking the trip to the line.
Foul is called against Trojans. Number 2, Timon Moore, his first, the team's second. At the line shooting will be number 0, Evan Bargewell.
Bargewell looking for his first points. The 2022 Earl Graham Metro versus Florida Challenge as we get a break.
30-second timeout requested by Viera.
So every school in Orange County is a member of the Metro Conference. Once your school opens, you're a member. Unlike college, there's no voting or acceptance or anything. You're in once your school opens. And in each of these 26 games over 4 days, we've been playing since Tuesday. Took, of course, Thursday off for the holiday. We add up who has the most wins. It's currently 13-9 in favor of the Florida contingency. They won 4 in a row yesterday and then opened up today's action with a victory. And so far, Evans with the 15-8 lead. This has been a shootout, run and gun, up and down. And Evans has done it a bit better to take that 15-7 lead. Still a long ways to go, over 3 quarters. I'm Neil Fisher. The other voice you hear, that's Mark Barchi. In addition to being my on-air partner, is the public address announcer and director. So Bargewell unable to get that first free throw to go. Strong rebounding there for Evans. 3 players tracking it down. Now one-on-one, Maurvais, one of the few times that Evans has been in a half-court set. It's been transition, and the Windex.
Second chance basket by Abimael Belleus.
That'll up the lead to 17-7, a 10-point lead. Actually 17-8, 9-point lead. Viera defeating Innovation on Wednesday afternoon. This is their second game in this event. The spin, the turn, that was Decilius. That was Chadacek. A nice turnaround, but he couldn't get the ball to drop. Everything but get the bucket in. And now Evans, for the second consecutive possession, goes to their half-court set. Moving the ball quickly, though. Of course, that's a trademark under Evans. And floating in the deuce.
Belleus.
Now the lead is double digits, 19-8. An 8-1 run now for Evans from the corner. The tray, much needed points do not go in. That's Chadacek battling down low. You're getting shots off. They've taken 12 of them. They're under 40% though. And now a chance to cut the lead under 10 points again. The split, the leg split, nothing doing. Try to check, can't get it to roll in. Iron unkind again. And a foul with 50.6 seconds remaining in this first quarter.
Foul is called against Viera's number 1, Damian Carter. That's his second personal foul, the team's first of this period. I think of a third of this period. At the line shooting is Abimael Belleus.
So 1 of 2, 12-point lead.
Out of bounds, Trojans ball. Checking into the game for the Trojans, number 0, Kadir Rackley. So Belleus has joined the party here. Now the third player to score for Evans. Foul is called against number 0, Evan Bargewell, his first personal foul, the team's 4th.
So Evans back to work, and just as quickly, the turnover, the bad pass. Give credit to Carter, right place, right time, lined up right where he was supposed to. That's Parker, who was the MVP in Viera's victory against Innovation on Wednesday. Try to check, bumping.
Traveling, Trojans ball.
Bumping in contact with Robinson. Robinson wins that as he gets the foul. At the other end, the pull-up tray, no doing for Rackley, and that'll take us to the end of the first quarter, a quarter in which Evans shot the ball well. Both teams getting a lot of shots in double digits, but Evans with the better looks, and the result, a 20-8 lead. This is game number 24 of the 2025 Earl Graham Metro vs. Florida Challenge from Apopka High School.
The 15th annual Earl Graham Metro vs. Florida Challenge is presented by Burn Fat Orlando, who challenges you to step on the scale with their money-back guarantee. If you don't lose weight in the first 10 days, they'll refund your money. Give them a call at 855-889-THIN to take charge of your weight and your life. The Metro vs. Florida Challenge is also presented by St. Germain Chiropractic, offering the best non-invasive services in the Central Florida area. They can help you with your back and neck pain, headaches, auto accidents, slip and fall injuries, musculoskeletal conditions, and more. With most insurance accepted, remember, when in pain, call St. Germain. And the Metro vs. Florida Challenge is presented by Advent Health, offering the top ER docs within blocks. They are Central Florida's #1 trusted ER. When life takes an unexpected turn, know the area's most preferred ER is nearby. Their elite team is available 24/7 to care for any of life's thrills and spills, and with the most ER location, Central Florida's #1 ER is always within reach. Find your Advent Health ER at myclosester.com.
And about to start the second quarter.
The Trojans have the opening possession of the second period.
And speaking of the Trojans, a.k.a. Evans, they have the 20-8 lead, shooting around 66%, about 2/3. As I said during the break, as we went to the break, both these teams getting shots off, moving the ball up and down, but Evans getting the better-looking shots. They've had far less hands in their face and far less bodies, and they're shooting about 2/3 compared to 1/3 for Viera in that 20-8 lead. Evans representing the Metro Conference, who trails 13-9, and Viera with the representing the Florida contingency. This is their second game in the event, being Innovation on Wednesday. Ball comes loose out of Chadachek's hands. Think someone got a hand on it, an Evans player. See how quickly Evans gets that ball down. Then in the half-court set, they rotate it, and there's your first dribble on this possession after about 7 passes. Typical Evans team, a typical Lonzo Morgan coach team as well. They like to use that pass to get the ball up quickly and open up shots like that. Clanks off the heel, way high. That was Belleus. Offensive rebound, the pass. And making the withdrawal, making the deposit.
Simone Moore from Juwon Robinson.
Evans continues to crash the boards. That time the offensive. They have 6 offensive rebounds as well. And now another turnover and an easy deuce, making the deposit.
Stolen layup from Kadir Rackley. And we'll pause for a timeout.
First 4 points of the second quarter go to Evans, and now the lead up to 16. 6:30 before halftime at Joe A. Sterling Gymnasium.
If you haven't already had a chance to do so, we encourage you to pick up a copy of our free digital program. We offer full-color season outlooks for every team participating in the Metro vs. Florida Challenge, as well as the team photos, the rosters, event history, more information about Coach Earl Graham, for whom our event is named, and more. You can get that on our website, metrovsfl.com. That's Metro vs. Florida, metrovsfl.com. And you can also, if you are here in the arena, just stop by the admission table and they have a QR code you can scan. Back to live action here at Joe Sterling Gymnasium.
And the 24-8 lead for Evans. Viera needing some points. Of course, we talk about it all the time, Mark. It's not just the tangible and direct effect of how many points you're trailing, but you can very quickly get out of sync. You can very much quickly feel like you're going uphill and you're trying to fight the force of the will of your opponents.
Yeah, and
that's some of the momentum.
I mean, we saw the back and forth at the beginning, but again, just like we talked about in the Apopka game in the last session, you know, Evans has assimilated what's going on here. They've read Viera's cues, they understand the assignment now, and they've fallen into a rhythm and they have adapted, and now they are virtually impenetrable, as opposed to Viera, which is still knocked off their footing, and that should have been a layup. The Trojans don't really need it at this point. Stolen again, another turnover, another outlet pass. This time, they'll share the love. And Gedfield doesn't have it, or excuse me, that's Hayslip, doesn't have it either.
Possession will be with Viera.
And Evans is ranked number 4 in all of 6A throughout the entire state. And not a block, also not a foul. Held ball, possession, Hawks. And both of these programs are 6A. They are district neighbors. Evans is District 5. Viera is District 6 within 6A, so these are teams that certainly could meet each other in the playoffs. Coast to coast, Daniel Lille. His first points of the night. Trojans continuing to frustrate the Hawks. And yeah, Neil, I'm not sure I quite predicted this, but I knew that Viera was not going to have the game they had against Innovation when they played against Evans. To the top of the arc, wide right. And I mean, take your choice of statistic, Neil. Beautiful pass. Rackley to Belleus for 2. So take your choice of statistic. You can have shooting percentage, you can have turnovers.
Yeah, all of them are roughly 2-1. Again, Mark and I, we don't have a statistician here. It's a skeleton crew, just me and Mark. But I do keep statistics as best as I can.
3 for Nicarans. Decius.
And I can tell you I keep field goals, attempts, field goals made, 3-point field goals, rebounds, offense, defense, free throws, and turnovers. And I'm not going to go through each one of them. I'll just sum it up and say it's roughly 2-1 right now in favor of Evans. And, of course, that corresponds with the score. 31-8, it's been all Evans. And, again, to the stats, it's been Evans in every area of the game. See if Logan Keith can settle his team down and come up with some type of answer. 3:45 remaining in the first half.
The Metro versus Florida Challenge pays tribute to Coach Earl Graham, who spent more than 50 years making the lives of Central Florida student athletes better. You can learn more about him on page 7 of your program. He, of course, at the end of his life was an assistant coach here at Apopka and was a staff member of this very tournament for many years. And so we remember him each year with the MVP award and the name of the event itself. We encourage you again to learn more about him and his contributions to Central Florida football and basketball in your program on page 7, which you can get from MetroVSFL.com. Ready to go back to live action now. Viera looking for answers. So far, they have just been outrun by Evans. I think that if you had to distill it down to, since all of the statistics are kind of equally pointing to the result, as you get a Dewaye Dixon basket from Evans, I think you just have to point to the speed, the precision, the physical readiness. Foul called against Viera's number 0, Evan Bargewell. His third personal foul, the team's first of this period, and that will send number 5, Abimael Belleus, to the line.
Yeah, Mark, and I would describe it as maybe for the first 4 minutes or so, each individual possession, Evans was winning 2 out of every 3 possessions because they were moving the ball quickly. They were running up and down. But I think now it's just simply a case of, number one, Viera's been totally stunned by the speed at which Evans operates. Not just how quickly they run up and down, but quickly they move the ball and make decisions.
Evans foul called against Abimael Belleus, his first, the team's first of this period.
But I think the physical aspect, starting with the
stuffed by Dewaye Dixon.
Yeah, starting with the conditioning, has just worn Viera down. I wouldn't say maybe Viera's quite at the point where, they're completely worn down, but I think it is starting to take its toll. Again, the general conditioning.
Held ball, possession Trojans. So 25-point advantage for Evans here as we get ready to wind down the second quarter. And now, seems that this doesn't happen very often, but we're actually going to settle into a half-court set. Not for long, though. That's Brigham to Belleus for 2.
Yeah, and to my point about Evans, their conditioning has really worn down Viera, and we're only a quarter and a half in. I think there's an example of it. It's not just the physical conditioning, although that's where it starts. When you're physically worn down, you start thinking mentally. You start overthinking the room. You start going through your checklist in your head instead of just doing memory muscle, that type of thought process. So under 2 minutes, a 27-point lead for Evans. Of course, Evans, once again, the Class 6A runner-up, state runner-up, lost in the finals last year.
Foul is called against Dewaye Dixon on the rebound, and that'll be his first, the team's second. Hawks ball.
And definitely Evans looks like they don't need any break. They picked up right where they left off after losing that state championship final. Full court, man-to-man, as you always see with Lonzo Morgan coach teams. Another steal. And that'll be Johnny Wright now at the line, the 5'4" senior point guard.
Foul is called against Viera's number 0. Evan Bargewell, his 4th personal foul, the team's 2nd. First free throw is good by Johnny Wright.
Score the 2 free throws. And now the lead up to 29. And Mark, again, I don't think anyone expected this lead to be this big. Of course, Evans leading is not the shock. It's the ease with which they've done it. They've been totally in control and dominated. There's one of the
Spin
few
move
buckets.
for Bronson Chodacek.
There's one of the few times that Viera's been able to do what it does well and feel comfortable doing it.
Want to also point out Bargewell sat down just now. Coach had to take him out. He's got 4 fouls. We're not even to the end of the first half yet.
Yeah, still a minute remaining. And the turnover, and there's one of the few mistakes that Evans has made. Long range, the trade, no dice. That was Wadsden trying to light it up, and 3 Evans players crashing the boards. Couldn't see who actually came down with it, but to the point of just the domination, 3 Evans players, none for Viera on that last rebound.
Held ball, possession Hawks. So officially that's a turnover when you get tied up with the possession arrow against you. So Evans cooling off here a little bit in the last minute or so, but they certainly have the room to do it. Wide open for the tray, bounces out. Stripped on the putback.
And
he's tall.
And there's an example of the hands. Chodacek ripping that rebound down. Looked like he had secured it, and there were 2 hands that got on to touch the ball. And so that brings the first half to an end. Evans, again, not really much to say, but they've come out and played like a team looking to find redemption after losing the state championship final last year. Coach Lonzo Morgan has his team humming on all 6 gears. A 37-10 lead, representing the Metro Conference over the Viera Hawks, representing the Florida contingency. The 2025 Earl Graham Metro vs. Florida Challenge continues.
The 15th annual Earl Graham Metro versus Florida Challenge is sponsored by Winter Park Driving School, who invites you to schedule a lesson for your student driver and to even schedule a road test so you can skip the line at the DMV and breeze through the process of getting your operator's license. Schedule a lesson for your student driver at WPDriving.com. We also want to thank our friends at Elevate Orlando, a civic nonprofit who helps students grow in strength of character and application of essential life skills through their accredited elective course offered through a partnership with Orange County Public Schools, as well as their mentoring sessions outside of school. They have over 1,500 participants in 14 OCPS partner schools with a 98% graduation rate. See how Elevate Orlando can help your students succeed. Trojans have the opening possession of the third quarter. Welcome back to Joe Sterling Gymnasium. Mark Barchi here with Neil Fisher. And Viera still searching for answers. We'll see if they learned anything during their locker room session.
Evans with the 37-10 lead. And normally you go into stats. I'm not going to do that. Obviously, the stats reflect the score. It's almost 2-1 in every
basket by Abimael Belleus to open up
in every
second half scoring.
In every statistical scoring of my count. But I will say this, Evans is shooting 62% from the field, 16 of 26. Of course, that's gone up now as they're 1 for 1. But just, you don't need to be the basketball guru to understand when you're shooting 62% from the field. That is the catalyst for that 27-point lead. And quite frankly, Mark, you mentioned this as we came to the end of the first half. It probably was over 70% until the last minute and a half, 2 minutes of that first half.
Second chance basket by Dewaye Dixon.
So, and this is a matchup between two teams that made the playoffs last year and won in the playoffs. But Evans certainly has the better.
Blocked by Dewaye Dixon.
Viera going 22-5.
3 for Jakai Hardy.
Viera going 22-5, winning its first game in the playoffs, a Sweet 16 appearance. That's regional semifinal. Evans a state finalist, losing in the state championship game after a 25-7 record, both Class 6A. And right now, Evans certainly looking like a team that is looking for redemption and feels like it has business to take care of.
Will White. Yeah, Evans, you really get the sense that they're ready to go to the district championship on Monday. Like, the district tournament can start on Monday. They'll be fine with that. Kadir Rackley.
Rackley just threw that ball up, the underhanded scoop. Found the right mark on the backboard.
3 for Alex Hollis. So Viera, while they haven't really corrected anything to stop Evans, they've at least got some scoring of their own going.
Yeah, found some offensive flow and execution, some semblance of offensive consistency.
Short. And, boy, I tell you what, Sal Parker had the offensive board, and then Dewaye Dixon said, actually, no.
Yeah, those quick hands, talked about that in the first half. You know, Evans, you can see it. I don't need to tell you, you can see it. They move, they're a quick-moving team, but it's not just like moving from one spot to the other. I mean, even like their hands, how quick they move. They get those hands in on that ball. They get the hands in on the stomach. And I'll say this, it does look like Viera's picked up their pace as well here in the second half. Looks like they needed 10 minutes to kind of reset.
3 for Alex Hollis.
I mentioned it in the first half, Mark. I think one of the reasons Evans came out and flirted with the 30-point lead was they just totally stunned Viera in terms of that quickness. And it looks like now Viera has adjusted in the second half. As you mentioned, they haven't done anything to stop Evans defensively, but at least offensively, they look like they're at least moving the ball quicker. And they're getting those open looks quicker, creating those open looks quicker.
And then a rare mistake here is Evans, I guess they zigged when they should have zagged. Of course, they always teach you in basketball, you pass the ball to where your teammate is going to be, not to where they are. Of course, you're passing it to where you think they're going to be. Sometimes that's not actually what happens.
Yeah, and if you're shooting photography, that's also what they teach you too. If you're shooting action photography, I'd say sports, but that's not the only action.
Yes, well, and of course, I get more credit than I deserve here as your broadcast director because I only play the replay if it got a good shot. If it didn't, then you just never see it.
So 46-20, 4:17 remaining. It was 29 points at halftime, so Viera cutting slightly into that lead. And so with 4:18 remaining at this point, Viera's got to, I don't want to go as far as saying the game is over, but I think Viera, as I said, I think they are playing much better. You said that too. But
if the best that they can do is keep
play
up
even, yeah.
If they can keep up basket for basket as Sal Parker gets the putback, I heard a bit of protest from Evans's bench. They wanted basket interference there. But yeah, if the best that Viera can do is match Evans basket for basket, that ain't going to get it done. They can stop the bleeding, but the damage has been done from the first half.
Yeah, that's where I was going is, they came out, Evans just blitzkrieg Viera. They took a lead early, about 8-10 points, and then the blitzkrieg started. It went very quickly in about 2 minutes to about 22 points towards the end of that first quarter. So again, I think the biggest thing was just Viera was stunned and surprised by just how quick Evans is in all aspects of the game.
Is that 11 or 13? Who was that? It's either 11 or 13. I couldn't tell. It was either 11 or 13.
Back the other way we come with Evans, a beautiful bounce pass, and making that deposit.
Abimael Belleus. Full timeout, Trojans. I'll go ask you.
So 48-24, the score with 3:01 remaining in the third quarter. And actually, as big a lead as that 24 points seems, it's actually 5 points less than what we had at halftime. Back to my point, Evans just comes out, and they are moving that ball so quickly. Everything they do is quick, and it's with speed, and it's with intention and conviction. Just even a subtle thing like where they put their hands when the opponents have the ball. And I think Viera, while they themselves would probably fall somewhere maybe that top 10% of the quickness and the pace, they were not even close to Evans and just stunned them. And next thing you know, they're down by 22 points about 3 minutes before the end of the first quarter.
So yeah, as I mentioned, Neil, you have to give Viera credit that coming out of the locker room, they've certainly done a lot better. They found their offensive rhythm. They've managed to at least frustrate Evans's defense, and I think that's probably why we saw Coach Morgan call the timeout there.
Yeah, well, they have, as I mentioned, they have cut the deficit to 24. It was 29 at halftime.
But again, you can't just trade baskets with Evans when you're that far in the hole. For the tray, off the heel. And now Evans goes to work.
So as Evans, I think this is the first time in the second half they've gone to actual half-court set, like set in a half-court set. They've had some semi-halves. And the 6-foot rolls in for Robinson.
Robinson for two.
Looking at the schedule for the remainder of today and actually the remainder of this event, the 2025 Earl Graham Metro versus Florida Challenge. It will be Lake Buena Vista taking on St. Stephen's Episcopal, Edgewater taking on Seminole, and then Winter Park taking on Windermere Prep.
3 for Brooks Harris.
And just a note, Mark and I will not be broadcasting those last 3 games. This is our last game of this event. We do hope that you've enjoyed watching and having access to the broadcast as much as Mark and I enjoyed bringing it to you. I also want to mention we have had several Apopka High School students help us out. Want to give them credit as well. And Brent Bond, who sat in, I believe it was 5 games, Coach Bond, helping out as well.
And again, if you are watching us on NFHS Network will be carrying the last 3 games. We'll be relying on, I call it the robo camera, as we get a 3 for Brooks Harris.
And the lead now down to 20.
It's actually called a pixelot, but it's mounted to the ceiling. No basket. Team control foul is called against Juwon Robinson. His first, team's first.
And so, Mark, we got an opportunity. Viera can cut the lead to under 20, and guess I shouldn't have said anything.
Yeah, well, and now we're going to get an error in the backcourt here by Carter, and Sue shrugs his shoulders like, what did I do? But in any case, you will be able to watch the last 3 games on NFHS Network. We will have the Pixelot camera that's mounted to the ceiling using the AI broadcast, so you will not hear our dulcet tones, but we will have those games broadcast on NFHS Network.
So Will White holding his right air. So second opportunity for Viera to cut that lead down to under 20. It was 29 at halftime. .23 seconds remaining, third quarter. Down to 15 now. That's Bargewell at the top of the key. Down low, Evans collapses quickly. And again, I've talked about the quick pace, everything from the decisions to the hands, but it's on defense as well as offense. And there you see it on that possession. Viera getting the ball in the paint 5 or 6 times, but immediately had to kick it out. So
that takes us to the end of the third quarter. Viera has cut the Evans lead to 20, but the Trojans still have a big advantage going into the final 8 minutes here in game 24 of the 15th annual Earl Graham Metro versus Florida Challenge. Don't forget to stick around after the conclusion of the game. We'll have some hardware to present. We have Coach Graham's family here to present the Earl Graham MVP Award to the top player from each winning team. That'll happen right after the conclusion of the game. And then we look forward to bringing you 3 more games to wrap up the day. Even though it is technically no longer statistically possible for the Metro Conference to win this event, we'll go ahead and play those last 3 games anyway. Since the teams and the officials showed up, we might as well give them something to do. So we will go ahead with that, and that'll be Lake Buena Vista St. Stephen's up next at 5:15, Edgewater Seminole at 6:45, and Winter Park Windermere Prep at 8:15. All right, so we move to the end of the third quarter to the start of the fourth. Trojans have the opening possession of the fourth quarter, and off we go. 20 points to make up for the Hawks. They're going to try to start here. Swing and a miss. I think Juwon Moore probably would have been better served to take that shot himself, but Juwon Robinson clearly was not expecting that pass.
Evans remaining in the full court man-to-man, as expected. And so at least Viera getting exactly what they need to start this fourth quarter. The
Kadir
turnover.
Rackley is called on his first personal foul, the team's first of this period.
Viera getting the turnover, exactly what they need to start it if they're going to make up that 20-point deficit.
It's only the second foul of the half. I got to say, Neil, I was concerned at halftime we might be in running clock territory by now. But even though we're not, the clock actually hasn't been stopping that much. That was a fairly quick third quarter. Probably shouldn't have said anything. Now I've jinxed it.
Viera, now the double team. Down low to Chattercheck.
Bronson Chodacek from the key.
Also point out, Mark, too, Sale Parker scored, I believe it was 24 points. I know he was in the mid-20s.
Kadir Rackley
When
hops to two.
When Viera defeated Innovation, they got into a running clock, and that has not been the case here. He's been held to 6 points. So Sal Parker clears.
Smacked away by Juwon Moore. And now stolen by Will White, then stolen again by Juwon Moore.
Long
Outlet pass, nobody there. Easy pickings. Kadir Rackley on the long outlet. 15 points for him.
And the steal from behind. And the deposit from Maurvais.
Jedd Maurvais.
So lead just as quickly back up to 24 points. Viera had a couple opportunities to get it under 20. And lightning quick back up to 24. And now an opportunity to go 26 or even 27. As the ball goes over the backboard, and Coach Morgan now putting in his second unit with 5:46 remaining. Of course, as I talked about at the beginning of this game, obviously some of these guys who have just come in players haven't had the opportunity to develop the talent, but it never really seems to matter who's in and what the year is for Evans. They always have great potential and a high level of talent to develop. They don't reload, they don't rebuild, they just seem to reload. It's just a matter of getting the talent developed by the end of the season so that the next generation can step in.
Basket by Justin Brigham.
A beautiful pass, and there's an example of what I was saying. The talent's there from the first player all the way to the 15th player. Of course, Brigham scoring the basket, running the floor well, but the passing setting up Brigham for that easy deuce. So lead just as quickly back up to 26 with 5:01 remaining.
And the Hawks will burn a timeout for substitutions. Leaves them with one left.
Score the deuce, floated in for Chodacek, +1.
Bronson Chodacek gets the basket, a chance to make it a three-point play. The foul is called against Trojans, number 21, Dewaye Dixon. His second personal foul, the team's second. Chodacek with 6 points, including those last two, trying to make it 7. Not this time. But Will White comes up with the O board. Rough bounce pass will give it over to the Trojans.
So Viera, they'll come out of this event, the 2025 Earl Grand Metro versus Florida Challenge. They'll be 1-1. They did defeat Innovation on Wednesday afternoon.
Who scored that? 3 for Daniel Lille.
Down low to Chodacek, makes the deposit.
Bronson
Nice pass.
Chodacek again for 2. So again, Viera at times has managed to keep up with Evans. But there's a 3 for Johnny Wright. But they have not been able to really stymie Evans. They managed to catch up, but not to slow down Evans.
Yeah, they got the lead down to 20 from 29.
Bronson Chodacek gets his own putback.
And then Evans just rattled off 8 in a row, which just ended on that basket. So it's a 26-point lead, so they've made some inroads from that 29 points, but certainly nothing that has changed the feel of this game. It's still been Evans in control from the tip-off. And again, Evans, the state runner-up last year, losing in the state championship final, and certainly a team, although this is only their 3rd or 4th game, looking like that team that feels they have business to finish.
Dewaye Dixon from Johnny Wright.
And I guess Johnny Wright must have heard me, because you saw that slam. As I was saying, they look like a team that feels they have business to finish.
It was 21 from 4, right? It was 21 from 4, right? Oh, no, what was that?
And this victory, even more impressive when you consider that Viera, always a playoff contender under Coach Logan Keith, coming out of Class 6A District 6, 22-5. They not only made the playoffs last year, but they advanced to the regional semifinals. That's the Sweet 16.
Fouls called against Trojans, number 10, Daniel Lille. That's first personal foul, the team's 3rd. Bronson Chodacek at the line, shooting 2. So it's been the Bronson Chodacek show for Viera. He has 12 of their 40 points. Misses the first here.
Also, Mark, point out that perhaps, especially since you're dealing with teenagers, that victory over Innovation, which did end in a running clock, perhaps that did give Viera some sense of a lull there, of security. Again, perhaps somewhat unfair. Unfortunately, sometimes that is what happens in these events. You have to skip if you're going to play twice. You do go from a team like Innovation, which is only in its 2nd year. They're rebuilding. They're looking to establish a program, to taking on the elite of the elite in Evans. A team that talks about winning state championships, not just getting to the playoffs. And perhaps that victory over Innovation again just gave them a false sense of security, and lulled them into that sense.
Yeah, and again, both of these teams got hit medium hard by graduation. Viera lost 4 starters among 7 graduating seniors. Evans, for their part, lost their top 4 scorers out of 6 total seniors. So kind of similar impact of graduation, but as you said earlier, Evans does not rebuild, they reload, and it just gives you a sense of the pipeline. I mean, even you just look at their roster, they literally brought 16 on their roster, which is above the legal limit. The only reason they have 16 on their roster is because Winter Metellus is out for the season with an ACL injury. So that's why they left him on the roster, kind of as an honorable mention. But they filled up every slot on their roster. As we get a basket from Bronson Chodacek.
Yeah, Evans won the 1975 state championship. Of course, if you're familiar with NBA in the 70s, the star of that team was Daryl Dawkins, a.k.a. Chocolate Thunder.
3 for Justin Brigham.
Among a number of names, but to reiterate that reloading, not rebuilding, that's been the story even before they won that 75 state championship. And as we mentioned, they're still going. They haven't won a state championship, but they're still going all the way to the state finals, and once again, including last season. So, sum it up, Evans coming in off a 25-7 record, losing in that state championship final, the Class 6A final, and certainly a team picking up from where they left off last year under Coach Lonzo Morgan. And they do not look like a team that has not only lost a step, but they look like a team that feels they have business to finish and take care of. And, of course, that's winning the state championship. The speed, the quickness, for everything from the movement of their hands to their decision-making, just overwhelming Viera, a playoff team in their own right, and a perennial playoff team under Coach Logan Keith, just totally overwhelmed during that first half, opening up a 29-point lead. Viera actually outscoring Evans, cutting that lead by 3 in the second half, but of course, the old saying, too little, too late. And so that's the way we will end this game, 69-53 Evans. That cuts the Florida contingency lead to 13-10. And now it is time, as I would just like to say thank you for joining us. Hope you enjoyed it. Since this is our last broadcast, take care. But Mark will announce and host the presentation of the Earl Graham Most Valuable Player Award.
That takes us to the end of the ball game. It is a 69-43 victory for the Trojans, who came out early and hard. And Viera certainly with a valiant comeback effort there, but unable to overcome the big lead that Evans established in the first quarter. Now, before we move on to our next game, we will ask that you turn your attention to center court for the presentation of the Earl Graham MVP Award.
Isn't that?
No, it's not a specific page that have the new name.
That's Jay. That's Jay.
I know, the grandson's name.
We now ask you to direct your attention to center court for the announcement of the MVP of today's game in the Earl Graham Metro vs. Florida Challenge. Throughout his life and coaching career, Coach Graham inspired thousands of players to love the game and become better men. And while he can never be truly replaced, we can honor his legacy by playing on in his name. It is in that spirit that our annual celebration of Central Florida basketball forever bears his name. And here to present today's award is Earl's son, Jay, and grandson, Jeremiah Graham, and the winner of the Most Valuable Player for Game 24 with 14 points to lead his team to victory. For Evans, it's number 21, Dewaye Dixon. Once again, we want to thank everyone for coming out to support your Trojan and Hawk athletes and the Metro versus Florida Challenge in general. For those of you watching on YouTube or MetroVSFL.com, that concludes our broadcast day. We want to thank you so much for spending part of your Thanksgiving week with us. We do still have 3 more games for you to wrap up the Metro versus Florida Challenge, and they will be live streamed on NFHSnetwork.com only. And those will be Lake Buena Vista versus St. Stephen's coming up at 5:15, Edgewater versus Seminole at 6:45, and Winter Park versus Windermere Prep at 8:15. From all of us here at Apopka High School, we thank you so much for joining us to celebrate Central Florida basketball and making us part of your Thanksgiving tradition. We'll see you next time.